most of the Ugandans that live in the diaspora have tried out business. They've entrusted their resources with their relatives back home, and the money has been misappropriated. That is a pretty lengthy word. In short, money has been eaten, or their money has been used for personal reasons. So they do not trust that Ugandans are capable of handling their money for business. Thank you for clicking on this video. I appreciate that you've spent another minute to come and listen to what I have to say. My name is William. This channel is about entrepreneurship and anything that makes life worthwhile. Earlier this week, I was having a chat with a friend of mine, and he mentioned that 36 million Americans have lost their jobs due to the COVID pandemic. Now, he didn't talk about any other area, any other location in the world, but specifically he stressed the United States. Now, we have so many Ugandans that live in the United States, and we presume that many of them might consider returning home. So I asked him, what do you think the plan is for these that intend to come back to Uganda? He told me many of them would want to invest in real estate. They would want to buy land, probably develop the land for commercial agriculture, things like that. Then I was quick to ask, aren't any of them interested in just normal business, trade, wholesale, retail, imports and exports, things of that nature? He was quick to say that most of the Ugandans that live in the diaspora have tried out business. They've entrusted their resources with their relatives back home, and the money has been misappropriated. That is a pretty lengthy word. In short, money has been eaten, or their money has been used for personal reasons. So they do not trust that Ugandans are capable of handling their money for business. So he said many of them are looking forward to doing business. Whichever amount of money that they land their hands on, many of them want to do real estate. They want to send that money back home, or they'd rather come back here probably during the holidays to invest, to buy land, and either put up something, a structure, could even be a shell, you know, an incomplete house. That's what they call a shell, and resell it. Others, they simply want to have a piece of land, and if they return, they will probably develop it for either commercial agriculture or put up a good structure. So now the question is, he told me, he happened to mention that there are questions around land acquisition lately. There are fears that one might probably buy land that has already been sold before to somebody else. So I took it upon myself to do some research so that I can help fellow Ugandans, Ugandans that are living in the diaspora, even Ugandans living right here, to make the right decisions, to know which steps to take if they want to buy land back here in Uganda. Uganda, the Pearl of Africa. So I'm going to read a couple of things here. I decided to read this off. I don't want to make any mistakes. I just want to share what really needs to be done so that we minimize on the mistakes or the losses that people have made when they're buying property or land back here in Uganda. So the very first thing one has to do if they want to buy land, they have to draw a budget so that they determine, so that the budget will inform the type of land that you'll be able to buy. Now, afterwards, you engage or you get in contact with a realtor, the ones that we usually call brokers. In the Western world, they call them realtors. So we look for brokers, land brokers or property brokers or real estate managers. You could either choose to look for a freelance broker or realtor. Alternatively, you could prefer, or if you preferred, you could work with property companies, the one we call real estate companies here. So those are the two individuals, or those are the two entities that you can look for so that you start the entire transaction. Budget, number one, so that you will know how much the land will cost. Number two, look for a realtor. Then number three, a physical inspection has to be done of where this plot of land is going to be, where you're going to acquire this plot of land. So it's imperative that the realtor or the real estate agent, you and the real estate agent, that is, if you're living in Uganda, you need to go and visit this property. The reason as to why you need to visit the property, you want to observe certain things like presence of a road network and other amenities like power supply and water. Those are very, very key. That is the reason why you need to do a physical visit to these places. Now, fourth, you need to acquire a photocopy of that plot of land, the photocopy of the title, so that you can go and do a verification of this plot of land. Now, the land offices, good enough, are now decentralized. Each district, for instance, if your land was in Kampala, obviously you'd run to the land offices in Kampala. If it's Gayaza, you look for the land offices in the areas of Gayaza, so that a thorough check is done to establish if the details that are on the photocopy that was given you by the landowner match those that are in the land offices. If there's any discrepancy, this is the point when most of these things are meant to be ruled out. Number five, you need to get yourself a surveyor. Now, the surveyor will do what is called opening up the boundaries. He'll be able to define exactly where your land passes, so that you do not, in the event that there are people that have encroached on your piece of land, he'll be the individual that is going to correct this situation. In other words, he'll be able to place demarcations. I think they're called stones, where you know that this is the place where your land stops. So it's important that you engage the surveyor. Now, the costs of the surveyor are entirely upon you. You'll have to pay the surveyor yourself. It's not the seller of the land to pay for the surveying situation. Number six, you're now ready to make the purchase of the plot of land. Now that you have enough information from the surveyor, you can either do a wire transfer or cash. If you have a relative back home, you could give them the amount of money that is required to pay for that plot of land. If the money is with you, you can send the money via either mobile money or wire transfer, and the transaction will happen. After the transaction has taken place, the most important thing to do right now is to show presence. Showing presence, that is, you have to put up something. You need to put a fence on your land so that it appears, so that everybody in the neighborhood will get to know that this land has now been purchased by a particular individual. It's owned by the particular person. So you need to fence this plot of land, and you need to put a signpost that says not for sale, and you should also include your phone number, because you're probably not going to be in the country, and maybe you're not even in the vicinity to monitor your plot of land. So in the event that there are any encumbrances on that piece of land, this is the time when the neighbors are going to show up, and a conversation should happen on how you're going to resolve the matter. If somebody claims that probably you've put the fence over their area, or you've extended beyond the place that your land stops, so that's the opportunity to have this solved. If this is not done, it will be very difficult for a situation like this to be resolved a couple of months or years down the road. If you leave your place open, you might find that some people have extended their construction work, or there's a road that has gone through, or a path that has gone right through your plot of land. So it's better to go ahead with a demarcation. You put a fence, or you put a wall, fence, whatever that is convenient for you. It is important to have that done. If you don't have that done, you might have problems in the future. You could even do some agriculture, or you could put up trees. That is also equally important, so that the land is really not idle. What some people do, if they do not have relatives nearby, they speak to the neighbors so that they can monitor or supervise any activities that are taking place on that piece of land. Sometimes the people that have been have been hired to take care of the plot of land can do a bit of agriculture, so that it's really not dormant. It's a win-win situation if the ones that are supervising this plot of land are doing some kind of activity from which they can get some money. So it's important not to leave the plot of land idle. Now, going back to the diaspora situation, now all the things that I've mentioned above are the entire process that is required for one to buy land. Now, if you're the diaspora and you feel you do not trust any person back home, or probably you don't have anybody back home, you could engage lawyers or attorneys. They're those that are specifically that have taken up land matters that specify in property, land, things of that nature. They will do all the donkey work for you. They will follow up with the lands office. Because at this point in time, you will have given them letters. You'll have given them powers of attorney, so that they can manage this kind of work for you. And obviously, there are fees that need to be paid, fees and taxes that need to be paid to the land office. So that's about it. So if you're not in the country, obviously you'd want somebody to manage the property for you. There are property managers who you can pay a fee so that they can oversee your land. So in a nutshell, that is more or less about it in regards to land acquisition or property acquisition back here in Uganda. If you need any more information, I'm going to list some of these points in the description so that you can follow through. And if you need to engage or to contact any of us, I'll still leave an email so that we can support you in this endeavor. Thank you for watching this video. I appreciate that you've spared some time to watch this. If you have any questions in regards to land or property, if you have any disputes going on, please feel free to send me an email. I could be able to hook you up with some people that will help you in such matters. Thank you for clicking, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.